to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. And we have gone final in the Week 5 matchup between the New Orleans Saints and the New England Patriots, where we saw the New Orleans Saints mollywop. I mean, completely dominate the New England Patriots by defeating them by the score of 34-0. This brings the New Orleans Saints to a 3-2 record, whereas the New England Patriots now drop to 1-4. The New Orleans Saints, leading up to this game, really needed this game. Look, the dominating part, that's icing on top of the sundae, but they needed a win in the worst way. And it's good. It's really good that the Saints were able to not only go up there in New England and get the victory, but do it in a dominant fashion, do it in a way that kind of sends a message throughout the league and to the Who Dat Nation, because it's been a lot of scrutiny, a lot of slings and arrows pointed in the direction of Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael for this team's underachievement throughout the past 3 or 4 games here to start off this season. But here's the big question. I'm happy that the Saints won, but the question is, can we be consistent? Look, I am cheering on the mountaintops. I'm happy. I'm glowing. It's a Who Dat type of Sunday. I'm all good, but I'm still faced with this dark cloud that is looming over the Who Dat Nation. Can we keep it consistent? Can we build momentum? Can we get 2 games in a row here? Can we get 3 games in a row? Can we just look like we're competitive? Win or lose, can we do that consistently? And that's the big question. But we'll get to that when we get to that. Let's celebrate this dominating performance by the New Orleans Saints. They ended their 2-game losing streak by defeating New England today in Gillette Stadium. The win improves the Saints to 3-2. The Saints dominated across the board today. I mean, across the board, all 3 phases. The defense forced 3, not 1, not 2, 3 turnovers today, including a pick 6 by the Honey Badger himself, Tyrann Mathieu. That kind of jolted the team because before that, it was looking kind of suspect as far as the Saints as a whole. Well, at least the offense was not looking good. They had about 2, 3 and outs up to that point. And that was kind of the rallying cry, that pick 6 by Tyrann Mathieu, which was his first pick 6 as a New Orleans Saints, believe it or not. And the offense was successful in the red zone with this game. And Blake Groupie drilled not 1, but 2 50-plus yard field goals today, a 53-yarder and a 54-yarder. In windy conditions. The wind was whipping out there in Gillette Stadium. Running back Alvin Kamara, he had a 2-yard touchdown run in the first half. They gave him a career total as a New Orleans Saint, 73 touchdowns, and he is now the number 1 or the best overall, however they say it, touchdown leader in franchise history with 71, passing the great Marcus Colston, who has 72. But congratulations to him. Well deserved, well earned. He should have got it sooner. But circumstances got in the way. Tight end Foster Moreau, he scored his first touchdown as a Saint with a 6-yard shovel pass from Derek Carr. Chris Olave scored his first touchdown of the season on a 5-yard touchdown reception in the first half. He could have had 2. He dropped 1 late in the game. I think in the fourth quarter there. I was so mad when he dropped when he dropped that ball. But it's all good. Michael Thomas, he had a strong outing today. He had 4 catches for 65 yards. Kendrick Miller. Kendrick Miller had his best game as a New Orleans Saint. He had 11 carries for 37 yards. I know it's not, you know, box office numbers here, but those were some strong runs he was carrying the ball with. I was really impressed. And he had 4 catches for 53 yards. So he really came to play today as well. But the defense, my God, that defense. Uh 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 what's his name? Carl Granderson. My God, he had a dominant performance today. He had a sack. He had multiple tackles for a loss. He was all over the place. Cameron Jordan, he got a sack and a half. He recovered a fumble. Pete Warner, he had an interception. And I mean, they were just all over the place. All over the place. New England could do absolutely nothing. And I know you're going to have your detractors who's going to say, well, it was New England. And rightfully so. I get all that. But let me explain something to you. I don't care if you're playing the hampered New England Patriots or you're playing a playground team full of 12-year-olds. You know how hard it is to shut out a team, let alone on the road. You know, it is hard. And we're talking about an NFL team here. And we're talking about a Bill Belichick team whose defense is still good. Statistically, the New England Patriots defense is better than the Saints. The Saints defense are ranked 11th in the league. New England is ranked 10th. So if you want to throw numbers out there, they have a better defense. Couldn't tell today, you know. Now offensively, they are horrible offensively, but I mean, look, you play your schedule. You play what's in front of you. And this is what you're supposed to do against a team that is, for lack of a better term, inferior to you. And that was the infuriating thing watching the New Orleans Saints for the past couple of weeks here. We were better. We are better than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was no reason to get blown out of the building by Tampa Bay. There was no reason to get blown out of, well, we didn't get blown out the building, but we had no reason losing to the Green Bay Packers. We're the better team. And that, I'm not saying we were supposed to put up a performance like this and shut out the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or the Green Bay Packers. But we should have won. We should have won those games. And in the case of the Green Bay Packers, we had the game in hand. You know, it was there for us to win. You was up 17 going into the fourth quarter with what, about 7-8 minutes left in the game, and you lost. So that's unacceptable. And then last week, still can't get that out of my head. Still don't understand it. Probably never will. Because it doesn't make sense, especially when you look at what this team did today. I will say this. I don't know how often I'm gonna say that this particular statement this season, but Pete Carmichael, good job, sir. You did a good job today. You actually called an excellent game offensively. Did perfect balance. You ran the ball when you were supposed to run the ball. You threw the ball when you had to throw the ball, and you actually attacked the middle of the field, which is always wide open. I don't know why you haven't did it throughout this season, but you finally did it today. You know, everything worked. Everything worked. I still saw a couple of plays where receivers were running in the same area. Their routes were like 2 to 3 yards apart from one another, which I still don't understand what play design that is, but whatever. I can pick this apart, you know, like crazy, but we got the victory, and it was a good victory. and a lot to build on moving forward this season. Let's look at the stats for this game, beginning with the passing. The New Orleans Saints leading passer today was, of course, Derek Carr. He was 18 of 26, 183 yards, 2 touchdowns, and here's the big stat: 0 interceptions. He had a quarterback rating of 114.7. For the New England Patriots, poor Matt Jones, man. I felt bad for old boy. Today, he was 12 for 22, 110 yards passing, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He was sacked twice. Derek Carr was sacked twice today as well. But he had a quarterback rating of 30.5. Also, Zeppi, he was 3 for 9, 22 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Leading rusher today for the New Orleans Saints, Alvin Kamara, 22 carries for 80 yards and a touchdown. Kendrick Miller, 12 carries for 37 yards. Taysom Hill, 3 carries for 19 yards. Derek Carr, 2 carries for 4 yards. For the New England Patriots, Stevenson had 8 carries for 24 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 8 carries for 21 yards. And Ty Montgomery had 1 carry for 0 yards. Leading receiver today for the New Orleans Saints was Can't Guard Mike Thomas. He had 4 catches for 65 yards. Kendrick Miller, 4 catches for 53 yards. Rashid Shaheed had 2 catches for 28 yards. Alvin Kamara, 3 catches for 17 yards. Chris Olave, 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown. Foster Moreau, 1 catch for 6 yards. Taysom Hill, 1 catch for 1 yard. And Keith Kirkwood, 1 catch for 1 yard. For the New England Patriots, Kendrick Bourne had 2 catches for 43 yards. Demario Douglas, 1 catch for 24 yards. Devontae Parker, 2 catches for 20 yards. Mike Gesicki had 2 catches for 17 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 4 catches for 17 yards. And Juju Smith-Schuster, 3 catches for 6 yards. Ty Montgomery had 1 catch for 5 yards. Breaking down our team stats today, first downs. The Saints had 17 first downs today, 11 by passing, 6 by rushing. The New England Patriots had 8 first downs today, 4 by passing, 1 by rushing, and 3 by penalty, which we're going to touch in on that a little later. On third down efficiency, Saints were 5 for 15. They need to get better there. They're still struggling there a little bit, but not as much as New England. They were 1 for 14. They converted 1 third down the entire game. Saints never went for it on fourth down. New England went for it on fourth down 2 times and didn't get it. Total plays. Saints ran 70 total plays today to the New England Patriots 51. Total yardage. Saints had 304 total yards to New England's 156. Total drives were dead even at 14 yards per play. Saints averaged 4.3 yards per play to New England's 3.1. Passing, Saints had 168 yards passing to the Patriots 111. Rushing, Saints had 136 yards rushing to New England's 45. That is dominant. In the red zone, and this is, oh man, when you see these numbers or hear these numbers, it's just gonna bring a smile on your face. In the red zone, the Saints were 3 of 4 in the red zone today. I mean, a tear just ran down my cheek. It was beautiful. The Patriots never reached the red zone, unfortunately for them. Penalties, this brought tears to my eyes too, but for a different reason. The New Orleans Saints had 12 penalties for 86 yards today. New England had 5 penalties for 30 yards. Those penalties were soul crushing. at times. I mean, these were, I mean, it was just upsetting, stupid penalties, and a couple of them, I don't think were penalties, but it's the NFL. You're in New England. I'm shocked it was actually only 12, to be honest with you. But this needs to be cleaned up. Your penalties, because if it weren't for the penalties, Saints could have easily put up 50 today. I'm not even joking. It easily, the penalties killed them on that regard. But it is what it is. You got to take the good with the bad. So I'll take that if that's going to get us a 34-point blowout. So we're good. Turnovers, Saints did not turn the ball over today. There's a goose egg in that category. Unfortunately, New England can't say the same. They turned the ball over 3 times, 2 interceptions and 1 fumbled loss. Time of possession also dominating there as well. Saints held the ball for 39 minutes and 34 seconds to New England's 20 minutes and 26 seconds. This was everything that you want from your squad. This is what I envisioned this team being. No, I'm not saying just running rumshot over everybody in the league. No, I'm saying when we're lined up against an opponent that is not on our level, this is what we're supposed to do. There's not supposed to be clenched cheeks, sitting on the edge of your seats. Oh, Lord, I hope we stop them here. Oh, I hope we can get them off the field on 3rd down. Oh, I hope we can convert a 3rd down. I hope it shouldn't be none of that. It should flow. And today it flowed. Today, everybody stepped up and played. There were some hiccups along the way. Derek Carr still has not thrown for over 300 yards other than the first game this season. After that, he has yet to throw for over 300 yards. Now, this week is not on him per se because you had a short field. It wasn't like he had to go the length of the field too many times in this game. Saints averaged like a starting their drive along the 40-yard line, man. I mean, throughout the game, I think they only had maybe 2 drives that they had to start at the 20 or the 25-yard line. I have to look up that number, but yeah, they they did not have to go the length of the field, and that's a tone to the defense. Chris Olave, that drop touchdown. Now, look, we were winning by 34 points at that point. No, 31 points. That's when we had to settle for the field goal. So it didn't damage us, but I look at the fact that, Chris, my dog, last week you put up a stink about not getting the ball. Well, he didn't really put up a stink, but you could tell with his body language and how that game was going, how he really felt. Okay, when you get the opportunities, you got to cash in on it. That was a big drop. You can't drop that. That was a layup. That was one of the best throws Derek Carr has thrown as a New Orleans Saint, and you dropped it. And we haven't dropped many balls this season. I think either up to last week or this week. That could have been the first drop by a receiver, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think the Saints have dropped many balls as our receiving core is concerned this season, despite the fact our record is what it is. But yeah, that kind of upset me. That doesn't sit right with me. I'm gonna be honest with you. But it is what it is. There's stuff we can clean up. It's not the end of the world. All the things that troubled me in the past couple of weeks, it still troubles me. Yeah, we still, got issues. We still have issues on this team that needs to be tightened up, especially if we're going to go up against the upper echelons of the NFL. So take this, run with it. I'm happy for it, but let's not act like all problems are solved. It's just 1 week. We can bask in the glow of this victory for 1 week, and we're off to Houston. So let's just temper the expectations, and let's not be screaming Super Bowl now. I know how some Saints fans are. I know how y'all are. You go crazy. Oh yeah, we back on track. Let's relax. Let's relax. I don't want to poo on nobody's parade or nothing like that. I just want to keep everybody with a level head. Keep us grounded in reality. That you know, unless we see this consistently, we still have to address the glaring issue with this team, and that is the offensive play calling. Today was a big step in the right direction. Huge step in the right direction. I think Pete Carmichael did an excellent job today. I'm not taking nothing away from him, but it still does not excuse him for the 21 games prior to this where he just did not do his job, do his job well, should I say. This is the first time the Saints has scored over 20 points in 2 years. I'm baffled by that stat. It is baffling, and even longer if you want to talk of 34 points. It is weird to see this. You have to kind of look twice, like, wait, what? The Saints did what? But overall, I'm happy. I am super happy. Happy enough to give these grades. You know how the grades work, people. We grade every unit of the New Orleans Saints: offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. And we average it all out to give our overall grade for the team as a whole. And this is a beautiful, beautiful grades that I am giving them today. Let's start off with the offense. Offense today gets an A minus. The offense was clicking. It started off rough, hence the minus. It started off kind of shaky, like they weren't on the same page, like the chemistry wasn't there. And all of a sudden, it was right when Tyrann Mathieu caught that pick six. From that moment on, it's like the team just woke up. It's like it was a jolt of adrenaline that just got all cogs in the wheel turning, and it was a snowball. It just snowball rolling down the hill from that point on, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. They ran the ball efficiently. They threw the ball efficiently. Didn't turn the ball over. Uh, Converted when they needed to. Need to get better on third downs, of course. But overall, the New Orleans Saints offense today gets an A minus. Defense, they they shut them out. What you think they're gonna get? It's an A plus. it's an A plus. They shut that New England offense completely down. Now, coming into this game, New England's offense is ranked 31st in the league. That is one above the worst. I don't know who the worst is, but it can't be no worse than this New England offense. My God, this was horrible. They are horrible. Now, was that because of the Saints' defensive scheme, making Matt Jones uncomfortable and unable to do anything with the ball? That played a part. That played a big part, But let's not be fooled here. That offense is horrible. They are bad offensively over there in New England. My God, I feel bad for Matt Jones. Defense gets an A plus. Special teams gets an A. Our rookie punter, he did better today. He actually kicked some well placed balls today. Good job on his part. Blake Groupie nailed two 50-yard plus field goals today in windy conditions and all. I mean, he nailed them. Good job there as well. Punt coverage and kickoff coverage was excellent as well. Special teams gets an A. Coaching today for the first time, I think, in a long time. The New Orleans Saints coaching gets a letter grade of an A. Came in with a game plan, executed that game plan. Good job. Defense coordinator, offensive coordinators, special teams, coach, all of them did a great job. Why is it not an A plus? Well, like I said, they started off a little rough. The penalties, you got to look at discipline for the team when when you have those many penalties in a game. And so I got to knock you for that. But they get an A today. Good job. Good job, Pete Carmichael. I'm going to continue to shout him out today because I was ready to shoot him out last week. But I'm going to give him his flowers. He did a good job. Overall, the New Orleans Saints today in this 34-0 victory gets an A. Best performance I've seen from this team in a long time. A long time. I'm over the moon excited. Over the moon excited, happy for this squad. They needed this in the worst way. Now, let's go to our game ball. Who gets the game ball and who has to sit in the corner today for the New Orleans Saints? Starting off with the game ball. Today, the game ball goes to Alvin Kamara. And not because of his performance. Alvin Kamara gets the game ball today because I believe it was Alvin Kamara who stood in front of the microphone last week and said, I'm tired of losing. Who did that interview with Nick Underhill and basically put the team on blast or the coaching staff on blast. Once again, if you haven't heard that interview, go back and listen to it. He showed his position as one of the captains, one of the leaders on this team by speaking up, speaking out, calling out who needed to be called out without really name dropping and, causing any dissension with the team, but calling them out in a way to whereas they had to step up and do their job. And today they stepped up and did their job. So he gets the game ball for putting the team on notice. That's what leaders do. That's what you're supposed to do. It's not supposed to be happy, bubbly, and it's gonna be all right. The Dennis Allen treatment. No. When you lose a game like you lost last week, heads gotta roll. Now, no, you don't have to lose your job, but we're gonna put you on blast. We're gonna you're gonna have to step on the carpet and talk. And that's what took place. And I believe that it was through the leadership of Alvin Kamara and others in that locker room who stepped up and said, enough's enough. We're coming out this week against New England, and we're going to play New Orleans Saints football. So the game ball today goes to Alvin Kamara. Who has to sit in the corner today? I really didn't have anybody, but I just for giggles, I'm gonna go ahead and put Chris Olave. I'm gonna put Chris Olave in the corner, and the reason I put him in the corner because he was soaking last week, and he dropped a touchdown this week after soaking because he wasn't getting. I guess because he wasn't getting the ball. So if you put up that much of a stink, you're gonna have to deliver when opportunities arrive, and he didn't do it. He dropped that touchdown. And I'm really just picking with him. It's not a big deal. The game was fully out of reach, of course, but it was just the mere fact that, man, come on, bro, you got to catch that. It's a layup, dog. You got to catch that. But really, to be serious, nobody gets to sit in the corner. This was a excellent win, dominating performance by everybody who took the field with a Saints uniform on. It's not going to get easier, people. This was probably the easiest game we're going to play for the next month or so because it gets real after this. The Saints did have coming into the preseason predictions, Saints had the easiest schedule in football. and it's still fairly easy, I guess you could say. But this the NFL. Nothing comes easy. Next week we travel to Houston to take on the Texans. The Texans are a real good team, real coach team, and CJ Stroud is proving that he belongs in this lead. He looks good. They lost today to a last second field goal, but uh the little highlights that I saw at the end of the game, CJ Stroud put him in position to win. Come back, they came back to take the lead late. Uh, just the defense kind of fell apart at the end and gave Atlanta an opportunity to win the game, which they did. But it's going to be a tough game in Houston this upcoming Sunday. And so that one there, it's kind of scary. After that, we're coming off of a short week because after next Sunday, we come home actually and play the Jacksonville Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. So that's going to be a short turnaround to play yet another good team. Jacksonville was in London this morning, and who did they play? I forgot who they play. Buffalo, who's a good team. They beat Buffalo handily, and it was that's a good team. They were a playoff team a year ago. So let's not look past them guys. That's a good team. After that, we traveled to Indy to play the Colts. Colts look good. I'm sorry. And they got Jonathan Taylor back. They just signed him. So, lucky us. But even without Jonathan Taylor, they have been doing real good. I'm shocked by it, to be honest with you. They looked good for the past couple of weeks. That's a scary team, Now, after that, you got Chicago. I think don't believe what you saw this past Thursday. That was an exception rather than a rule. But it gets kind of easier after that. But we're on a stretch here where we're playing some good teams. So can we bottle this up, what we did today, and take it on the road? We'll wait and see. I'm hoping and praying that we will. And this is what I was talking about when we talk about consistency. Can we bring this same energy, same fight, same fire into next week matchup? We shall see. But I am super happy that the New Orleans Saints won this game and won it handily. Beautiful performance by the New Orleans Saints. In case you don't know, and you're catching this show at the end, which I don't know how you do that, but the New Orleans Saints today come out victorious as they defeat the New England Patriots by the whopping score of 34-0. Wow. Well, let's see what happens next week as New Orleans travels to Houston to take on the Texans. 12 noon on Fox. This ought to be a good one. If you remember, we played in the preseason and they beat us in the preseason. Actually, they look good. I know it was a preseason game, but they were looking good in that preseason game. I was kind of worried. I was like, man, we got to play these guys again when it actually matters. Oh, man. But we'll see what we can do. We'll see how we match up against CJ Stroud. Can we make him look like Matt Jones? I don't know. I don't know. But I would like to know, how do you feel about this victory? Do you think the Saints are back on track? Do you think the Saints found it? Are we good now? Or are you in wait and see mode like I am? I'm kind of like, let's see. Let's see. I'd like to know. You can email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol. here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of the Saints dominating performance in New England with a 34-0 victory, bringing their record to 3-2 on the season thus far. Can't wait to speak to you later this week as we preview the upcoming matchup between the Saints and the Houston Texans. Until then, all week, and I could finally get some sleep because I didn't sleep a wink last week because of that embarrassment. Now I'm going to sleep like a baby. And when I wake up from sleeping like a baby, I'm going to be screaming, "Who dat?"